All right, a private function. It seems like this movie was great for private viewing and maybe for public viewing too. I don't. Hello, and welcome to Random Movie Time. Today we're going to be looking at the 1984 British comedy feature, A Private Function, directed by Malcolm Mowbray and starring Michael Palin, Maggie Smith, and Denholm Elliot. So this movie tells the story of a disparate group of English villagers who are desperate to fill their bellies during the worst part of post-war British food rationing, culminating in the theft of a beloved neighbor's pig named Betty. So what did you think of this movie, Shannon?
Oh, I thought it was very entertaining. This was written by Allan Bennett. I'm not sure if you're all aware of who Allan Bennett is, but he's done some things with Dudley Moore and Peter Cook. He's a playwright and a screenwriter. He's definitely in the absurdist category. He's very influenced by that, and it really comes through in this picture. It has an absurdist film noirish feel to it, definitely. And if you are familiar with Allan Bennett, it totally makes sense. It's a really, it's quite funny. It's a little difficult to follow at the beginning, but I mean, that's a hallmark of absurdist type of things. And of course, Maggie Smith and Michael Palin do an amazing job. There's an incredible cast. It's a really kind of funny take on classism in Britain at the time. Michael Palin and Maggie Smith playing a couple who are one of the have-nots who are trying to make their way. Maggie Smith more so is more interested in climbing the ranks, I would say. Michael Palin's just a poor little chiropodist, like a foot doctor, who goes around making house calls to all these rich people's houses. Which is how he finds out about the rich people hiding a pig, an illegal pig, so they can have a feast for the upcoming wedding of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Phillip. And I guess it's a big commentary on how corrupt the upper classes were, and of course the lower classes scrambling to find scraps so they could survive, and doing everything in their power to be one of the upper classes. And that shows kind of the nasty side of it. Definitely one of the highlights for me was the detective, kind of detective subplot. So Bill Paterson plays the food inspector. His name is Mr. Wormwold, and he shows up at the most inopportune times. He's the only straight-laced character in this movie, I think. And he plays it deadpan serious. It's just so funny. I can't tell you how funny he is. But overall, I mean, it's a very good movie. It is a bit confusing at times, hard to follow at times, but eventually it works itself out, and it is quite funny and quite satirical. What do you say, Tommy?
Well, I mean, I like this movie. I found it more amusing than laugh out loud funny. I remember the ads for it when it came out. It was kind of a big deal. It was a big hit in Britain. Apparently it was #1 at the box office for 2 weeks in Britain in 1984 when it came out. So I saw the ads quite a bit, and I saw posters, and it was a video rental staple for many years in the video shops. You would just always see it, and so I would consider renting it, because there was a picture of Michael Palin and a pig, and it looked like it might be funny. I think I might have watched it once, but it was so long ago. I'm remembering a couple of things when I saw the movie, but maybe that was just because I saw the trailers before. I'm not sure. A funny thing to note was I thought maybe there's kind of a vegetarian agenda to this movie, because they were really going all out with the sort of grotesque side of meat preparation. Sort of everybody, was doing their own butchering and then hiding, pig carcasses under the blanket so the food inspector wouldn't see it, and, close-ups of chickens' heads being chopped off and stuff. There was this scene where they were trying to kill a pig, and they were luring it into a gas oven with a bowl of potatoes, and I was like, there's no way that I would bend over backwards like this just because I wanted to eat some meat. It was like, eat the potatoes, don't give it to the pig if you don't know how to kill the pig. I mean, I'm not a vegetarian by any stretch of the imagination, but it was just, I thought it was just kind of over the top that these people were going to any lengths just to eat meat. I thought that was kind of weird, but maybe it was a comment. Maybe that's how things were. I don't know. But yeah, an amusing movie, and I like a lot of the actors. It was a real who's who of British actors. There's pretty much everybody you've ever seen in anything. Michael Palin from Monty Python, of course. Maggie Smith from Harry Potter and every British movie. Basically, Denholm Elliot was in Raiders of the Lost Ark, most notably, but he did a million other things also. But you'll recognize pretty much everybody in this movie if you've ever seen a movie. So, good actors and, some sharp writing. Not bad.
Yeah, well, speaking to your point of it being over the top when it comes to food preparation, all that, that's partly why I was, it struck me as more an absurdist movie. And Allan Bennett, if you're not familiar with Allan Bennett, that is kind of his shtick. He does tend to lean towards the absurdist vein. So I mean, to me that totally makes sense, and I agree with you. It wasn't laugh out loud. It was very amusing, but it wasn't loud. It's kind of funny. But
quiet, dear, the neighbors.
Oh yes, oh dear. But yeah, I agree with you. It was very amusing.
All right, so A Private Function. How well did this movie function for you? How many pigs would you give it on a scale of 0 to 5?
Well, I will give it a 3.5.
3.5 pigs.
Yes, I do love Maggie Smith and Denholm Elliot, and I love the premise. Allan Bennett is a very good writer. But as you say, it was amusing, but it didn't completely grab me. But I do recommend it. I do recommend you give it a shot, and it's very, very entertaining. How many pigs do you give it?
I give it 2.5 pigs. Mildly interesting. It's great for some of the actors you know and love, if you're a Michael Palin fan particularly. And I'd give it a light recommendation, and I guess a side of boiled potatoes.
Boiled potatoes. Well, there are plenty of potatoes and Brussels sprouts to be had in 1947 Britain, just no bacon, which leads to all this illegal activity.
All right. I guess that about does it. So we'll see you next time on Random Movie Time.